Dun dun da 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 dun dun da 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 da. Okay, I better stop before I keep going forever. Love that song. And
you know, it's funny.
The only
reason I know that is the song is because of the Mario show.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say because that one video that somebody made in like the early 2000s, like the Zelda rap or whatever, and they used that.
Oh, I think Smosh did a Zelda rap. Are you talking about Smosh?
It might be, yeah. I think they might have been the ones to do it.
Yeah, that makes
sense. And it used
that
song, I'm pretty sure, as like the background music, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
that's cool. That's not surprising. They did a lot of like raps for different franchises back then. But yeah, the only reason I know that that's the correct song is because of the Mario show.
I got you. Well, welcome to the stream and the video. If you're watching this on either Twitch or YouTube, everybody, we're back to the DawnCast, episode 11. 11 episodes in. Look at us. We're making it. We're making numbers. I don't know what that means, but we're doing it, guys. We're
making numbers. Like my favorite number, 7.
Or my favorite number, Quibblheim. It's not a number. It is now.
Apparently it's a number. Okay. Awesome. So what are we talking about today?
We're talking about the wild world of fantasy games. That's why we had such beautiful Zelda music to start us off. Don't copyright me, Nintendo. That is original content.
They're gonna copyright the hell out of us. It's Nintendo. What the fuck?
Dude, my singing's beautiful. They better not. I will cry 1,000 cries. I'm like, wee. That's all you're gonna get out of me. Yeah. So we're talking about fantasy. Yeah, just wait, and then I'm done. So we're talking about fantasy games today. I mean, there's a broad list of them. We're not going to go over every fantasy game, obviously. More ones we know best.
We're going to talk about every single fantasy game that's ever existed.
So we're going to be here for, what, like 17 hours, probably?
I think it would take more than that.
I don't know. It depends on how in-depth you go.
It also depends on what we're categorizing.
And we're going with medieval fantasy, to be clear, because I know how some people just like to be silly. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and caveat there. I will include Hogwarts Legacy. Like, we can touch on that briefly at the end.
That is a medieval
because it is a fantasy. Game. It is kind of medieval. Also, I don't know, because they have a flying car. That's not very medieval.
Okay, because it's weird, right?
It's like modern medieval. I don't know how to explain it, but you get what I mean.
Because the wizarding world's 100% medieval. But the modern world is like 1980s.
Yeah, why does that, like, that story I'm pretty sure takes place in like 2003.
I'm pretty sure it takes place in the like early 90s, late 80s, if I have the setting correct.
I don't even know, man. I don't know.
When
yeah, look it up.
I'm gonna fact check.
We need a fact checking. I mean, we can just start off with talking about the Harry Potter games and universe. Like, I played those on PS1, the Harry Potter games on PS1. I have to say they're some of the better PS1 games.
It takes place... Harry Potter as a series takes place between 1991 and 1998. But I'm pretty sure Hogwarts Legacy specifically takes place a little bit before that.
No, it definitely does, because I'm pretty sure Dumbledore's like young in that.
Yeah, it takes place in... Oh my god! It takes place in the 1890s, a little bit more than slightly before that, apparently.
So, their technology just never improved. Like, they just got that magic, and then they're like, you know what? We just don't ever have to do better than this, except for Ron Weasley's flying car.
We are talking, like, and it's my favorite argument ever, is, like, the whole, like, the bird argument, the fact that they still use owls to deliver messages even though they can teleport.
I mean, true. Dang, I wrecked her. I one-shotted that boss. I don't even know what I blew up there.
You blew up love and happiness.
She's done, though.
Absolutely gone. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no, and the Harry Potter games are like pretty fun. Like I played the ones on PS1. I haven't played Hogwarts Legacy, but it looks good. I do plan on picking it up at some point because like it does actually look really good.
Yeah, I've never played any of the Harry Potter games or Hogwarts Legacy or anything. The more we do episodes talking about things like this, the more I realize I do not play as much as I think I have. You know what I mean?
I just and this is not like saying like you're not, but I guess I would call myself kind of cultured, so I just tend to try, even like whether it's games, movies, TV shows, I try like to give everything from like every region or like stuff that's not necessarily my norm like a chance. I can't say the same about food. I'm picky when it comes to food, but like when it comes to media, I can like consume almost any kind of media and like give it a chance, you know, because that's how I got into anime. That you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was me learning to just consume certain types of media and like.
Yeah, and I would argue that like as far as like consuming media and stuff is, I'm pretty open to like watching different types of media and playing different types of games. I just don't find the time to do it very often, you know?
No, I get that.
So I end up in situations where it's like there's a lot of stuff that I haven't seen or played or whatever. Because I would say it's quite the opposite food-wise. Like I love trying new like food things. I've tried a lot of different foods that I've had. Anytime I have the opportunity to try something weird or interesting, I'll always try it. That's how I learned that I love super spicy things.
Gotcha. No, yeah, no, I'm not opposed to trying every food. I'm just saying I'm not generally one though. Like, especially if it's not something I'm super familiar with. Most of the time, I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't want to eat that. Like, and no, it all depends on how it looks and smells. That's how I base it. And if it doesn't look like it looks or smells good to me, I'm just like, no thanks.
So would you eat a chocolate toad? Since we're talking about Harry Potter.
Like, it doesn't have any actual toad in it, right?
That's a good question. I'm pretty sure it's just chocolate that's locked.
I mean, that's fine. I don't know why you would want to make something like that. Like, hey, let's get this chocolate and make it sentient so we can eat it. And that's awful. Now that you like, that is such an awful premise.
Like, when you think about that, but I'm going to make sure.
Like, do you like really though think about that? It's like, oh yeah, you know what? Like, we created these like sentient chocolate frogs so we can just eat them and cause them pain. It's really awful, like an awful premise when you think about it. Like, it's actually terrible.
Yeah, they use magic to make them act like an actual frog.
So, does it feel pain?
It doesn't say. So, yeah, I guess it depends if you feel that magic is a sentient, if magic is a sentient force or not. And I would argue most of the time magic is usually like a living thing. Like, it's an essence of magic. So, do you think magic
That's what I'm saying, like... I don't know, I just know those frogs would probably be where they're
There's
being
nothing
eaten.
that says it, but it is fucked up that they make it act like a frog before eating it.
Like, yeah, that's just my whole thing. Is like, you're gonna make that thing be living so you could just murder it. That is terrible, guys. Like,
it's a fucked up thing, actually. It's like I had never really thought about it until we start talking about if we need it or not. But yeah, that's messed up.
It's like terrible, yeah. Like you were just mentioning it, and then I thought about it. And like, wait. So in the Harry Potter universe, they bring like chocolate frogs to life, just so they could like murder them. Like that is awful.
Yeah. Essentially, they do come with collector cards though. So you also
well, that makes it better.
No, right? I mean, I would eat a sentient being for some Pokemon cards, wouldn't you?
Sure, man. No.
How many times can you re-roll in Baldur's Gate?
It depends on how much faith you have, and then how many thieves' tools. And on this character, for some reason, I have like 14 to 15 thieves' tools.
Jesus.
I don't know where I got them all, but I just have so many, so like...
Okay. I guess we're living up to the name here with Wild, the Wild World of Fantasy
game.
games.
Yeah, I mean that's so far it's been a
That's
little
kind of
while.
just a Harry Potter thing. I don't know if you can argue that's just a game thing, but that's more just a Harry Potter thing.
Just me getting.
I'm not surprised. Harry Potter's fucked up most of the time.
That is
like,
controversial, but like honestly, fantasy worlds are kind of supposed to be like. I would say Zelda's probably even like pretty messed up, and that's probably the most like light-hearted of most fantasy world. You know what I mean? Like Zelda's pretty light-hearted, and that game is.
I don't know. You'll have to talk about Zelda, as we've discovered today.
No, I get that. I'm just saying, like... yeah, no. And, like, probably the series I'd probably want to jump into next, or, like, first, I guess, since we kind of went on a Harry Potter tangent, is I would like to talk about Elder Scrolls, because I think that's one me and you both have played, like, at least some of the games
Oh, you don't want to cap off on Elder Scrolls? Because I figure Elder Scrolls is...
No, I thought we'd go with D&D.
Like D&D is this? Okay, I'm down with D&D.
I feel like that one, because I'll want to talk a bit about Baldur's Gate, and then I know you have a lot of knowledge on D&D, so...
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we should
Well,
just talk
I've been playing it since I've been 10, so...
Yeah, so I feel like that one will be...
Yeah. Alright, well, let's get into Elder Scrolls. Is there a specific Elder Scroll you were thinking of? Do you want to do Skyrim?
Well,
do you want
I mean, Skyrim's, I think, probably the obvious starting one, and, like, we could talk about Skyrim, yeah, like, I think we should start there, because I think that's the one most people have played, like, there's, like, the Bethesda, you know, hardcore players, but, like, there is a lot of casual gamers who tried out Skyrim.
And yeah, there is a lot of people who've just, like, I think most people know what Skyrim is. I do agree with that.
And
so that's why I think we should talk about Elder Scrolls Arena first.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Elder Scrolls Arena...
I mean, I'm not against it. It's not one I've personally played. I know it's about it started the series, but it's also one of those games where, like, if you haven't played it and you're not open to, like, DOS games stuff...
It is so hard to learn how to play... because I did the Wildcard Wednesday series, so I had to learn how to play Daggerfall, and Daggerfall uses about the same mechanics as Arena, and it's jarring to try to learn the mechanics of the old Elder Scrolls games like that.
I believe it.
But yeah, let's talk about Skyrim before we get off on another tangent.
I mean,
Skyrim is such a Skyrim was such an interesting experience. It is a good game. Yeah. I remember the first time I played Skyrim. It was obviously quite a few years ago now. I remember the first. Actually, I remember the first time I played it. I didn't make it past the opening part where you run from. The dragon. I'm blanking on names because I'm the worst for that. But you run from the dragon. Yeah, and I got stuck. It was the part where you jump into that other house and run through, and then you get to just decide who you go with. I don't remember what happened, but for some reason I could not figure out how to get out of that house. Mind you, Skyrim came out in 2012, right?
2011.
2011?
It's only, I only remember because it has, the easiest release date to remember because it literally came out November 11th. So it came out 11/11/11.
So the first time I played it, I was 6, 7.
Yeah, I get that.
But, after...
Because my niece played it when she was little, and she didn't get very far in it. I remember, she'd get all the way to Whiterun, and then kill chickens, and get a bounty, and get murdered, and then quit.
Every time I would play when I was, little, and when I finally got past that tutorial, I would get to Whiterun and just start murdering people for no reason.
Yeah, she didn't go after people, but every time she crossed paths with a chicken, that would be the end. The chickens would just get wrecked by her.
What's with the vendetta against chickens?
Yeah, I don't know. She'd just come into town and start like murking chickens, and then like get a bounty, and then they'd either arrest her or take her out, and then she'd be like, "I'm not playing anymore," and that'd be the game.
Oh, that's great. But I remember the first time I actually got to fully play through Skyrim was a couple years back. I finally sat down and actually played through it, like through the story and through the actual game. And I always end up defaulting to a conjurer, and that's the thing about Skyrim is there's so many different like styles of play that people would like to do, and you can kind of have your own personality on any of it. Like, I know my uncle refuses to play anything but Stealth Archer.
I knew it, because everyone in Elder Scrolls games, like, the easiest class to play is just Stealth Archer.
So my uncle refuses to play anything but Stealth Archer, and I'm well aware of that. And that's his choice, you know? But I always enjoy playing conjurers. Like, I like being Necromancer, a Necromancer. I like summoning things to do work for me.
Yeah.
So that's what I would always do, is I would just have things do all of it for me, and they just carry me through the game while I sit in the back and watch. So probably the most interesting way to watch the game get played, but playing it, it's fun.
My first experience with Skyrim was literally like the release. It was a game I was just looking forward to, because I had dabbled a bit in Oblivion. And what was weird is I didn't understand Oblivion when I first played it. I had a hard time, but then I got into Fallout and Fallout New Vegas, and weirdly enough, playing those got me into understanding how Bethesda games worked. So I went back to play Oblivion, and I really liked it. And then I saw they were making, Skyrim, and I was like, oh, cool, they're making a new one, and it came out. And I remember just sitting there, and at the time it was one of the best, looking games, and it was just this awesome open world, and I was just taken away, I was taken away, blown away. And I remember I had a PS3 at the time, but I didn't dare get the PS3 version because it was not good. And my brother-in-law had it for Xbox. And I remember him being like, oh man, if you want to play it, I'll just go play something on your PS3. So I remember I would get on there at least a couple hours a day. And I remember the first day I was just walking around looking at the rivers running and stuff. And I just thought it was the coolest thing, because I'd grown up with 16-bit open world games like that. So to me, the best ones I had seen were I guess at that point, Oblivion was probably the nicest, fantasy game I had seen to that scale. And obviously Skyrim blows that out of the water, because the people don't look like they got stepped on.
So funny.
Yeah, it does. Although I'm not going to lie, the actual open world of Oblivion is really pretty when you're walking around,
Yeah. No, the thing that was funny to me about that is, talking about Skyrim's graphics, because, back then, 100% amazing graphics. Now, there's so many games and stuff.
Oh, they're dated as hell now, yeah.
So much, they look so bad comparatively now. And that's natural, obviously. And Skyrim's definitely one of those games where you can go back to it and it really not, you don't worry about the graphics. You're not playing it for the graphics.
I mean, that could be said about almost any Elder Scrolls, if we're being honest.
Oh, absolutely.
Except I think Oblivion was kind of ahead of its time for consoles, when it came out on PS3 and that. But it's because if we're talking about that, what do you call it? Even ESO, for being a game that released on PS4 and that, it doesn't really look that much better than Skyrim.
No, yeah, and it really does. Well, and that's the thing about Bethesda as a company is after they released Skyrim, all of their games worked off the same engine for until now with, I think, Starfield's built on a different system. I'm almost sure, right?
You're free to go.
Do I need to look that up?
I mean, if you want.
I'm 90% sure it's not, but I'm gonna look it up just to be safe.
But yeah, ESO, that game, it looks okay, but it's kind of rough. I wouldn't call the graphics amazing. I like ESO though. It is fun. The only complaint I have about that game, and it's just something Jasmine pointed out to me, is I hate the way it
Don't go bothering my pigeon. He's mine. Keep him safe. What's it to you?
is I don't like the way it like.
Then catch one.
Come on.
I don't like the way they do the like the quest thing on there, where like you have a limit on how many quests you can have, and then like people run up and be like, "Hey, can I get you to do X thing?" But oh, your quest thing's full, and it's like, if my quest thing's full, it shouldn't even give me the option to like go like talk to those people about their quest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But I do want to confirm that yes, Starfield does run on an updated version of the Creation engine.
Yeah, it
so they're
does.
finally using a new engine.
it's Creation 2.
Yeah.
The problem with that is the Creation engines are all derivative of the original Creation engine that they used on DOS, so they're still technically using like a DOS engine, because none of their engines are like a freshly built engine. They're derivative.
Yeah. But like the Creation Engine one was definitely holding them back. Like Creation Engine 2 is definitely better than Creation Engine, like the Creation Engine they used for like Skyrim and stuff, graphics wise, because that was definitely holding them back for certain games. Because like not saying it looked bad, like Fallout 4 looked good, but it didn't. Like it wasn't up to the same standards as everything else at the time.
Well, no, and you have a point there, because like look at like between Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, like there isn't even much of an improvement.
No, there's no change.
And like those games are like not even 3, they're like 4 or 5 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee the story of your daring rescue of my person.
This has become a rant about Bethesda as a whole. Apparently, I'm realizing we've gotten off topic.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like they definitely don't look as like polished as they could. And you're right, like and that's why I'm like curious to see what Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be like, because if it is running on this new Creation engine, like.
You mean that game that was announced in 2018 and just
and
now
just
got
barely
confirmed to be in
hitting production?
development?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that game.
But with the way Bethesda churns out games now, they'll probably make it in like 2 years. Plus, I'm not gonna lie, if they're doing the terrains the same way they did Starfield, they may not take as long, because they're doing AI assisted, where like the developers go in and handcraft all the like housing, cities, things like that. That like more
because you
personal.
don't have to do as big of a map with an Elder Scrolls game as you do with Starfield. Starfield is a whole like.
Well, what they do with the AI is the
AI.
AI doesn't go in and like do anything major. All it does is, if they're like, hey, we want a forest here, instead of having a guy go in and handcraft a forest, they essentially just have an AI program do it, because it's a lot quicker.
Yeah. And
Which
I
I'm
understand
fine
that's
with.
a lot quicker, but at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of like magic to the fact that someone is going in and like placing everything there, and it give a different feel when an AI tries to go and do that, because it just doesn't come out the same. Not saying it's like it's gonna make the game awful or something like that. I'm just
Apparently it worked fine with Starfield, because that's what they did with the planets, is the overall planets
and
were
I understand
AI.
it, but once again, it would be ridiculous to try to have someone, like people go in and craft every planet, because there's thousands upon thousands of planets, when with Elder Scrolls 6, they could take that liberty. Because it's going to be on a much smaller scale map-wise. I would assume, unless you're traveling planets in medieval times with magic.
If it isn't a tree. He doesn't say his next words. Yet they still.
You ever talk to a dead squid? Now's your chance.
You know what I mean?
No, I get that.
Which, I mean, if they do, they do. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I think like as a whole, Skyrim is just an experience that a lot of people have got to enjoy, and you can't take anything away from that. And Skyrim's interesting because it's a game where it's like it's buggy. Everyone knows it's buggy. It's been buggy since it's been released. It's never not been buggy, but that's kind of what makes Skyrim Skyrim.
And they fixed that game. They fixed a lot of the game breaking bugs, because I remember like there was one on release I don't know if you ever saw it. It was like dragons would fly backwards, and you could not attack them or like get them to get their souls. But then they like fixed that, and they fixed a lot of the major like game breaking bugs. And like at this point, if your game breaks on there, it's usually because you just put too many mods.
Yeah, well, and that's what I mean is like that they did what game companies should do in that situation where you do have like buggy games is they didn't like try to patch the bugs that were like for fun that you could just use for fun. You could just choose to do it like that. There's like the the glitch you could do with the potions where you can get a sword so powerful it goes into the negative and just doesn't deal damage anymore. With enchants and potions, and then there's like the bugs with climbing terrain because we all know the terrain doesn't work well with jumping.
He is suspicious, confused by the question that fell from his lips.
Yeah,
which I mean, jumping, breaking walls is something that's never gonna not be in Bethesda games, I don't think, because like even when as I said, I played Daggerfall on video for Wildcard Wednesday when I was doing the Wildcard Wednesday series. Like there was a moment where it was like this was essentially a straight up wall, and I knew that I fell from the top there, and I wanted to get back up there, and I was panicking, so I just started spamming jump, and eventually I like cheesed my way up it, just like you would in Skyrim, and I was like, oh, fair. So that's always been a thing.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, it's still one of the most charming open like world games, fantasy games too, and I would say that with all of them though, because I've played Morrowind, Oblivion, even ESO. Like obviously I haven't played the ones prior to that, but all four of those Elder Scrolls games, like they have a certain charm to them. Like the world feels lived in, and like it's a
Yeah. A part of me wants to bring back Wildcard Wednesday.
I mean, you could.
But yeah, as a whole, like, just Elder Scrolls is such a, like, fun series. Just, even if you did, like, even if you don't know how to do it well, like, going back and playing even Arena and Daggerfall, it's fun to experience that for like, just an evening, just to, like, try to figure it out.
Especially because, like, all the lore and stuff and how all the games tie together, so there's stuff in them where you're, like, even if, like, you're not 100% with it, like, you could be like, hey, what do you call it? You'd be like, what do you call it? How do I put it? You can connect dots. It's kind of like when you play older Fallout, like, you play Fallout 3, and you see references to stuff that happened in, like, 4 and 76, and you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. They built that up before it even happened, kind of thing.
Yeah, you know what'd be cool? If, like, an Elder Scrolls 6 or just one of the next Elder Scrolls games to come out, if you could do what you, like, if you could pull, like, a Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, where you could take your character from, like, say, Skyrim or something, and put it, like, as, like, some sort of mentor into, like you can on Xenoverse 2 with Xenoverse 1, like, you take your old character and make it, like, this hero of time. Like,
yeah, no, that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, but I don't
like
think
how this guy's
ever
just dumb
like,
and doesn't
oh,
see what I'm doing over here. Sorry. Like, I'm fighting that hobgoblin. I'm just surrounding him with, like, fire barrels, and he's just like, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, alright then.
Could you imagine that in an actual, like just like, oh yeah, here we're talking to you, we're casually setting fireballs around you. Oh,
what are these for? Nothing.
Why are you all running up a tower?
Where are you guys going? Nowhere. We'll be back later.
Later,
nerd.
But yeah, Elder Scrolls as a whole, I think, will always be cemented as, like, just one of those, like, games, like games.
One of those fantasy series and games that's just solid. Yeah. In my opinion, it's probably one of the best games in, like, fantasy series.
So, do you want to talk about...
We can go to Zelda next. I know you're not as familiar with Zelda, but I think everyone...
Yeah, you're going to carry this one.
Everyone kind of knows what Zelda is. I mean, even if you haven't played it, Link, Zelda, Ganon, like, pretty familiar Nintendo characters. I would say they're the second most popular group, probably after the Mario group, you know?
Yeah.
Someone is one way to get God's blood pressure up.
No, absolutely.
Destined for the cells. If you're lucky.
It's like, I don't know, it's a game of the series that I grew up with it. That's one reason I really like.
Okay, what's your favorite Legend of Zelda game?
It would be A Link to the Past on Super Nintendo.
A Link to the Past on Super Nintendo? Hey, that's one I have access to.
It's just a good game overall, like,
Actually, I might not have access to that. I don't know if I still have Switch Online.
I would say it's probably my favorite game from my childhood.
Oh, okay. It's cool.
Because it's just really fun to play, and like the Zelda universe is just like it's interesting because it's like one thing about the games is you can never tell with them if like they're supposed to be a continuous thing or if it's supposed to be like the same story being told by like different people or like what it is.
Yeah.
Like the game is very ambiguous with the way it's set up and like the way the story is told. And I don't know, I just really like the like little universe that they have there because it was my first like kind of taste of like fantasy or like anything like that, like media. I'd never really like that stuff wasn't really big when I was a kid. Like there wasn't a lot of it, and so like the only games out there were like Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, stuff that me as like a 5-6-year-old kid was way too complicated and complex. Like I'm not gonna know how to play like Final Fantasy, you know what I mean? Like, but then I got to play Zelda, and like it was easy because you swipe a sword, you're not having to figure out how to like you don't got to do math equations to beat an enemy or something like in Final Fantasy, like nothing like that.
You don't have to do math equations? That's insane.
I'm just saying, like, you get what I mean, like those turn-based games, which there's nothing wrong with them, it's just that game was a little bit, like, it was a little bit easier than, like, everything else that was out at the time, because, like I said, I had played, like, Dragon Quest as a kid, didn't understand it. I played, like, I think one of the old Final Fantasies, had no idea what I was doing. Played, like, Ultima, the Black Gate, no idea how, like, that's supposed to be played. Probably to this day, I don't know what the hell that game is about. I just remember you could talk to a rat.
Well, that's, if you're going to take anything from a game.
Like, that was literally the only thing I remember about that game is you could talk to a rat on that game, like... I don't even remember why I remember that. I just remember being able to, like, you could talk to a rat.
Okay.
But yeah, no, and, like, I remember playing Skyward Sword. Was it Skyward Sword? Yeah, I think that's the one on Wii. I got to play that one, and I liked that game a lot. Like, I don't know, it was really, like, interesting. I like the way, like, you lived in this...
Is Skyward Sword the one that was on GameCube and then got ported to the Wii?
No, I believe that's Twilight Princess.
I just know that one, like, they switched which hand Link uses for his sword.
I mean, it might have been that one, but I just remember it being, like, Twilight Princess that got, like...
No, yeah, I'm just saying, I know it's the one that, like, got ported, that they switched his, like, hand for the movement to be more natural, because more people are, like, right-handed than left-handed.
No, yeah.
Left-handed or something. I don't know why I know that bit of knowledge, but it's there. That's saved in my brain for some reason.
I mean, it's not the worst bit of knowledge. How are you gonna fail athletics, bro? And I do like that Link has kind of become, like, more than just a, like, he's kind of the one fantasy character that's kind of broken into all media. Yeah. Or, like, at least with other games, because, you have him on, like, Smash Bros, Mario Kart. He's been in Soul Calibur. He had those awful, like, CDI games. I mean, I know no one likes those, but they do exist. Like, he's had a lot of stuff for being just like a Nintendo.
I've never played as him once.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you there. That's so weird to me that you just never played a Zelda game.
I've never
not a
played a
bad
Zelda
thing, it's
game,
just-
and I've never experienced being Lincoln in any capacity because I've never played him on Smash, on Mario Kart. I've never used him as my racer. It's just a weird occurrence that I didn't think about until I was like, I've never done that. You know, it just hasn't happened.
I mean, it's alright. That's something that happens. Oh my god, that dude got tossed. I'm gonna save that clip. Bro got tossed off a cliff.
Oh, I don't know if you've played or not the newest Zelda game.
No, I haven't gotten to play Tears of the Kingdom yet. I want to.
Tears of the Kingdom. Thank you.
I still haven't finished Breath of the Wild, so I have no right to touch Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, okay. Because my friend had just beat it, and he told me that Matt Mercer was playing Ganon in that game, and I was like, oh, that's cool. But he also said he just wasn't a fan of Ganon's voice in it, so I think he just wasn't happy with Matt Mercer's performance. And I was curious about that, if that was true that Matt Mercer.
I gotcha.
I'm gonna look it up because I'm curious now.
That guy just got pushed off. I wonder what, because Ganon doesn't, like, even when he talks, he doesn't talk that much, so it's like, how much could he have said? Because Zelda games aren't super heavy, like, dialogue games.
Yeah, but I could also see it just being a thing where it's like, because Matthew Mercer, when you know Matthew Mercer's voice, when you hear it, it's like, oh, that's Matthew Mercer, so it's like, it does have the ability to pull you out if you're not careful, like, especially when it's close to his normal voice. Because there are sometimes he has characters that are closer to his normal voice.
What else has he been in?
He is McCree, or not McCree anymore, sorry, what's his fucking name now?
Cassidy.
Cassidy, thank you. He's Cassidy, I have to think about, he's the handler from Monster Hunter, not the handler, but the, fucking, I'm trying to think of
The captain guy?
he's the captain. He's like the guy who saves you in the beginning.
Because I was like, if he's a handler, I don't like him already.
Yeah, he plays the handler.
Did you know my feelings about that handler person? Like, screw that person. Well, the hobgoblin was easy. Who am I fighting? Oh, there's a guy here? Where's there a guy? Who am I fighting? Bro, guys, I don't want to fight. Come on. Hey, one of those barrels didn't explode. I can use it.
He's in quite a few things. He's a pretty popular voice actor.
No, his name sounded familiar. That's why when you said it, I was like, what has he been in? Because I've heard his name before. That's why I was curious.
A lot of animes. He's been in a lot of different animes.
Like what?
Let me see. I'm getting characters here, so I'm going to have to look at the animes that the characters are in. Oh, he's in One Piece. That's fun. JoJo's Bizarre Adventures.
It's like all animes I don't watch.
Oh yeah, it's
What's he in? This thing, I don't watch that. Well, this other thing, don't watch that either. Nothing. All right, sounds about right.
Wait. I got one that you're gonna recognize. In one of the Mortal Kombat games, he's Stryker.
Great. Take that one and throw it in the trash. I don't need to know that.
No, he's also just a really good dungeon master. He has one of the, he's the dungeon master on just the most popular D&D show on the internet. It's called Critical Role. They have like a, I don't know if you heard about it, but they even made an animated series called Legend of Vox Machina.
Is that the one where you told me Big Show was on it once?
I think Big Show worked with that Critical Role once.
Yeah, wasn't he on there once or something? Didn't they have a wrestler on there once? I thought you told me they did. Someone told me they did, or they were like that. I don't remember. Because I know Big Show's into D&D. That's why I thought he was on an episode. Because I don't know if you know, he's like big into D&D.
Yeah. No, I knew that. I know he's on some sort of.
I just didn't know if it was that. I just thought he had, because I thought someone told me he had done like a thing with one of those groups, but I didn't know if it was Critical Role or.
Okay, it looks. Let me see if I can. Find more about this.
Yeah, Sunday's gonna be crazy. We're gonna have a lot
Okay,
wrestling
so
wise.
it wasn't with Frontliner. It wasn't with Critical Role, but one of the members of Critical Role was on a show with them.
Okay. Because I knew
Yeah,
that
'cause
he had
did-
done
he
like
was in a
something
game
with D&D people.
with Travis Willingham.
Okay.
But yeah, like we got completely off topic.
I mean, not really. We're talking about D&D.
We are talking about D&D, which was supposed to be a later topic. So it's not so much we got off topic as we just advanced a little too quickly. But Legend of Zelda.
I mean,
why does Link fall in trees?
I don't know. Link is an interesting fella, and yeah, TNA man. It is. I'm pretty excited for this weekend with NXT No Mercy and AEW Wrestle Dream. It should be like a really good weekend for wrestling fans. But yeah, no. My thing on Zelda that I've always wondered is why are the chickens so hostile?
Are chickens hostile?
Dude, if you bully a chicken, like hit it too much, a bunch of chickens will just come flying in out of nowhere and like rain down and murder you.
Stop bullying chickens. Sounds like the easiest solution.
I mean, I don't. It's just something you learn as a little kid because, like, you know, there's just that fascination with seeing.
Because your family has a thing for killing chickens?
Yeah.
That's what I'm learning today, is as children, your family has a thing for killing chickens.
Chickens are hostile to me.
Oh, that's great.
This is a misfight. Oh my god, you hit me. Bro, one, like, how'd you hit him for one? Yeah, I don't know what it is with that, actually. That is a good point what you just did there.
No, I know Legend of Zelda is the game about breaking pots. I'm just trying to name general things that I know about the game.
Is Link really a hero when you think about it? Because, like, all it sounds like he does is breaks and enters and then breaks your stuff. Like, that's not really what a hero does.
Mm-hmm. And steals the coin,
steals your money,
rupees.
just
They're
awful.
called rupees, right?
Yeah,
He
that
steals
Russian
the rupees
thing.
out of your...
Wait, those are rubles. Never mind.
That's what I say, huh? What did I miss?
I'm gonna let Shadowheart get this guy's stuff because she did blow him up with those barrels.
So what I've learned now is that Link is actually a Russian child.
He is. His name is Alexei. You know, just strategizing to kill this goblin guy made him 100 times easier. These bosses are all easy if you just drop explosive barrels around them, I'm starting to figure out.
Are you just gonna start collecting explosive barrels?
Well, there's a room full of them. If your Rizzler's on, I'm
Everywhere
gonna grab
you go
those
in this
too,
game,
and I'm
you're
just
just
gonna go
gonna
drop
pack
them around that other lady and
explosive
blow them up
barrels.
around her here in a little bit.
I'm trying to think of other things I know about The Legend of Zelda, just off, like, general knowledge.
I mean, the Land of Hyrule is pretty interesting. Every game has a different, like, interpretation of it. That's what also makes them...
Okay.
That's why I said a lot of people don't know if the game is supposed to be a continuous story or if it's supposed to be, like, a story, the same story told over by, like, different cultures, because each game seems to have a slightly different, like, cultural overtone from one of our, like, real-world cultures.
Okay.
So, like, that's why a lot of people kind of think that it might be a... it might be like culture, like different cultures telling the same story, because it seems to always repeat that it's like, you know, Link and Ganon and all that, like
The Triforce. I assume
No,
the
exactly.
Triforce is a big deal. Once again, from the Mario show.
You know it.
But I know what the
Well,
Master
everyone
Sword
should.
looks like. I know what the Master Sword looks like. I got that down pat. I know that he wears a green hat that's pointy,
There's a green
like
hat and
Durple
tunic.
does.
Yeah, Durple does, but Durple's an elf. Shout out to Durple.
Yeah,
What a legend.
Durple's a Keebler elf, so that makes sense.
You hear me? I was like, shout out to Durple. He's a legend.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell him, like, bro, you have to watch this episode because I gave you a shout out in the.
Yeah, don't tell him it's like all the way towards like the
you have to
second
watch
half of the.
Yeah, it's like towards the
It's at like the most random point.
Hey man, I shouted you out. You need to go check it out. Dude, that's.
But we're not telling you where.
What part of the video? Yeah. That's what I'm
Yeah,
answering.
it's there.
It's there. Go check it out. Where? Just go check. You'll find it. Why do I gotta do all the work for you?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you know, Zelda is a game that I know exists, and
Well,
not much
at
more.
the end of the day, Zelda's probably the most, like, I want to say not, like, the most iconic, but I would say it's probably one of the most influential when it comes to games, like fantasy games. Not necessarily fantasy as a whole, but I think for fantasy games, it definitely, it's one of the more influential ones, you know what I mean? Like, it just, what do you call it? Like, the game, like, it definitely, there's, if you go look at the Super Nintendo, the NES, hell, even, like, N64, like, look at, like, I know you don't know the game, but Castlevania 64 even, it just tried to be fucking Ocarina of Time, you know what I mean? Like, they just try to be clones of, like, Zelda and stuff, that's what I mean, so there's not really, like, a,
We're just gonna have to
Zelda...
do an episode, like, I'm gonna have to, like, host an episode someday of the DawnCast, and the footage is just gonna be me trying out old games that I probably should have played at some point, but didn't.
One thing we could do for the DawnCast one day is, not just that, but I was gonna say, have an episode where, oh, damn it, I just had the thought in my head. Well, I'll get back to it later.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good place to kind of leave The Legend of Zelda. I'm sure they're good games. I wouldn't know. Dawn knows. Dawn probably would say they're a good game. Right, Dawn?
They're top tier in my opinion, yeah, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's what I was gonna say. One day we gotta do an episode about clone games.
Clone games? Oh yeah, absolutely. An episode about like clone games and rip-offs.
No,
100%.
exactly.
That'd be so fun. But with that being said, I think it's now time that we move on to the. You said that Zelda is one of the most influential for like fantasy games. I think what I'm about to talk about is just the most influential game.
That's why I wasn't going to call Zelda the most iconic or the most influential, because it's definitely not. Like, this game that you're about to talk about is the number one. It's not just the most influential fantasy. It's probably the most influential, like, when it comes to video games as a whole, because it was basically video games before video games.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was...
And it translates well into video games.
It was the first, like, big tabletop RPG. Like, it's the tabletop RPG people immediately think of. I love D&D. I've been playing D&D since I've been, like, 10. I don't even think it's like, I think it just is 10. Thinking about it. So D&D's a very interesting thing to begin with, because everyone's going to have a different experience with it, because it really comes down to the setting that you are in at the time when you learn to play it, who you learn with, because where it's written down, it can be interpreted in different ways, and everyone does kind of have their own style when playing D&D. So, but at the, like its basis is, like, you're in a mystical world. You can be whatever race you want, whatever class you want, and usually there's magic in the air. That's kind of the, like, hands-down basis. The fun thing about D&D
I can't make a guy with a gun, you're lying. No, I'm just kidding.
Did you say you can't make a guy with a gun?
Yeah, with like a Glock, you know? Can't make it.
You 100% can make a guy with a gun. Artificers exist. They use
Glock
guns all the time. Not technically a Glock, but there's like pepper boxes and stuff.
Like,
I've made a machine gun.
What if I want my character to bust out his Glock?
I'm sure you can manufacture close enough to a Glock for it to work. Depends on what your DM allows. We're not having Glocks in my game. Because I don't want there to be Glocks.
I can do drive-bys on a horse.
What's wrong with you?
The question is, what's not wrong with me? It's easier to list.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, you have such... like, there's so much control about D&D. That's what's fun about D&Ds. There's so much, like, control on what you can and can't do. Like, you can control everything in your hands. Like, it's so insanely fun. And the only thing that limits D&D is how creative you and your group can be. Because at the end of the day, it really is just, hey, you know as a kid how you would get with your friends and you would, like, play make-believe, like, as a young child? Yeah. You would, like, play, like, superpower, like, oh, I have superpowers, I have this superpower. Things like that. It's like if you took that and were like, hey...
Resident Evil as kids.
Well, that's fine, too. You're still pretending to be things.
Yeah, but we had Nerf guns and stuff. Like, we weren't wizards, okay?
Okay.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
You had a different childhood than me. That's crazy.
But I get what you mean. Like,
it's putting rules on that is what it is. It's giving you an outline of rules to play with that. So you're still using your imagination for it all. It's just not like it doesn't give people the ability to be like, well, I have immunity to all damages.
Field
so
of no dying. Can't ever die. Don't try it. Okay.
Well, actually, you have to do whatever I want and be cool about it, because that's my character's ability.
My character is, he's just basically Jesus now.
You just
made Jesus
and people will still try to build the most broken things. They really will. It's wild.
Have you ever made Jesus on there?
No, I've never personally made Jesus.
So I feel like that's a missed opportunity.
I'm sure it is.
I mean, you can't lose, right, if you're like Jesus or something?
I mean,
your party will never run out of food. You just be turning rocks into bread all day. Nobody will ever go hungry.
Dude, ain't nobody keeping track of rations. Like, I'm sure there's groups that
I'm playing, we're doing rations, or I'm not playing.
I'm the DM. You don't get to decide the rules. And what the hell?
In fact, we're playing Oregon Trail now. How many ox do you want to buy? We're gonna talk about Oregon Trail. What the hell's wrong with me?
You just kicked me out of the position we had agreed on.
Yeah, just teach me how to do it, and then we're gonna do Oregon Trail.
It's that simple. I just have to teach you how to do it, even though you and no one else in the group has played before but me. I'll just teach you how to do it real quick.
Yeah, that's how it usually works with every other game. You guys teach me how to do it, and then I become leader.
What do you mean? Every other game, what happens is we get into the game and then you have us do everything while you sit around.
I don't sit around. I go bully people. That's important work that I'm doing. To be fair, I usually establish in survival games that are multiplayer. To be fair, I'm usually the one that makes friends with all the like OP people in the lobby and gets us all the cool stuff fast, so you can't really get mad, because what I don't do in work, I make up for in, like, getting stuff.
Yeah, sure. But no, but it really does just come down to, like, what you can work out. Like, I know we were talking about, because you were interested in making a mixed race character beyond like what's in D&D, because I know you were looking at it and you were like,
well,
hey,
and I just had some questions about their mixed races is what it was too, because I wasn't 100%, because obviously everything does it different, and I was just curious, you know, because like going back to like Elder Scrolls, the way it works is like they have a whole lore thing where if it's like male parent and like female, or like obviously male and female like parent, I think the baby always is what the mom is. The baby is always like, obviously, like it's a mixed race, but it always looks whatever, like, and I think it's the mom. It might be the dad, but it always looks like, I'm pretty sure it always looks like what the mom is. So like, say like on the off chance like an Argonian and a Khajiit got together and the Khajiit's the female, like the baby will come out of Khajiit, not like some weird hybrid cat lizard.
Yeah, and
even though that'd be a lot cooler,
like,
but we can't ever do cool stuff.
Knew, because you knew about like half orcs and half elves, but you were asking me about like if other races also just did like if a gnome and a orc were like mixing stuff.
Because I was curious what that would make, because I wasn't sure, like, and it would just, you know, in case I do want to go that route and make like some crazy mixed character.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's fun about D&D is like while there is technically no like orc gnome, half orc gnome like race, like that's something you can completely create. Like that is 100% doable.
No, that's pretty interesting to me to be able to do that kind of.
Yeah, I mean technically there's even like there's homebrews for about anything, and the thing is like you do obviously have to check and make sure they're balanced because there's a lot of unbalanced homebrews. Like I know there was a Saiyan race that was going a Saiyan race homebrew that was going around for a while. That was so stupidly broken because it had the like the boost Saiyans get from when they get like near death.
Oh, the Zenkai boost.
Yeah, they just get a Zenkai boost, and it's like, oh my goodness, because it became broken to the point where the Saiyans would obviously, in Saiyan fashion, become the strongest very quickly. So it was like super broken to have that.
Why would anyone even allow that?
Yeah, you shouldn't allow it. That's the thing, is because it broke the game. But there was like definitely stories of like I heard from people who had like got their DM to let them try it, or like had a player in their games that tried it, like and stuff like that. Where it's just like, well, that sounds fun, you know.
Just have a broken like class in the game that just absolutely breaks our game. That sounds like, and I'm sorry to go back to it, when you were talking about classes in ESL, I was going to point out, like, the other thing besides Stealth Archer in that game is, I don't know if you know, just playing Battle Mage, where you just have a weapon and casting / conjuring, it's so broken. Yeah. Oh my god, is it broken on that game. Yeah. Is there like a broken class on D&D like that, or like do people just make them, or how does that work?
Like, well, okay, so here's the thing, right? Anything can really become broken if you are like if you're with people who like hard meta game and like will mid max and stuff. But if you are playing with decent people who understand, who are just there to have like fun and aren't trying to, like everything's just normally very balanced. But there's people who will like try to maximize, because there's this thing called multi-classing, right?
Yeah.
And what that is you can like you can take like 3 levels into like barbarian and then like 2 levels into monk for whatever reason, right? And you can mix your classes like that. And that has upsides and downsides that I'm not gonna fully get into. But a lot of people will like mix classes to be like super broken, and they'll like try to maximize the amount of damage they do. So like every time I roll an attack, if I hit, it does like 87,000 damage. That's obviously a very exaggerated number. I think like the max amount of damage you can do.
But I get what you mean. Like it's just like
a couple hundred
stupidly broken attacks. Yeah.
Yeah, like they'll maximize their attacks to where they like won't ever miss. They'll like try to make it to where they won't ever miss, and then like their attacks are super broken, and it's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? Like, where's that fun? And that's kind of when the DM needs to step in and be like, hey, buzz off.
Like, let's chill on that. Yeah.
So it's like it's hard to just make like unless you're really really trying, you're not gonna have like a super duper broken character. Like you'll still get cool stuff, but it'll be balanced. And that's kind of the DM's role, is to make sure everything stays balanced. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha. That poor guy got bullied. I pushed him and hit him in the head. And that's interesting to me. I just, like, you know, I don't know the most about the series. That's why I did have questions. I do think, like, again, the premise and all that's interesting, making, like, a character. And from what I've seen in Baldur's Gate, I really like it. I mean, I made, like, five single player, and then I have, like, 2 extra characters for a multiplayer and a stream run.
Yeah.
So that just tells you how much, like, granted, I'm not playing my stream character this playthrough, but whatever. Don't always gotta play that one.
But, like, as far as it goes, like, and I really like Baldur's Gate for the fact that, like, it's actually a really well built representation of D&D. It's the best, like, Baldur's Gate 3 is the best representation of D&D you will get in a video game.
I believe it. I like it, like, the way it's, like, done, like, the way they laid it out. It's probably one of the best games I play, and it actually has me more interested in, like, D&D.
And that's really good, and I'm happy that it does have you more interested. Because I know we've been talking for a while about, like, me hosting a game for you and some of our other friends. So, you know, it's been a really fun experience. And I've had a lot of fun watching you play Baldur's Gate for that, like, reason of, like, I know a lot of stuff, like, mechanics-wise, just from D&D. So getting to watch you, like, learn how things work and stuff is very fun.
No, yeah, especially because you could see, like, different, like, the way, like, I might approach something differently, or... I still just bomb at you.
Let's end this.
This guy's using such a cheat strategy because he keeps running around the corner shooting and then running back.
What's he playing, Baldur's Gate, or what?
I was watching you, like the guy you're fighting on Baldur's Gate.
Oh,
watching
yeah.
him run around that corner and
He's
back
annoying.
multiple times. But yeah, just in general, very, like, D&D as a whole is just, it's one of those things where it's like, I think if you have the right group, anyone could get into D&D and really enjoy it.
Ow, that hurt. The person. Oh, what happened? You know what? You're getting this to your stupid face. Here, have this fall on you. What, you missed? How are you gonna miss? Oh, well, she burned to death anyway. So use a fire arrow.
But yeah, is there anything else you would like to say?
I mean, I don't know. I think fantasy games as a whole, like, they're great. There's so many good series out there, like Fable, Ultima. You have Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts. There's, like, so many to try. People can try all different kinds.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, because we barely even scraped the surface.
Yeah, we didn't even scrape the surface. We picked, like, some of them, like, probably the 3 most major ones gaming-wise. Like,
yeah, that little tangent about Harry Potter at the beginning.
Yeah, well, the Harry Potter, I mean, it needed to be said, okay?
It wasn't out of place, it was just
random, I know.
Random. It was...
And it's horrible if they do those frogs, it's not my fault.
Yeah. If you all would like to see, and I'm curious if, like, if you all would be interested in seeing, like, Dawn's first experience, or it's called the DawnCast. Yeah, so Dawn's first experience with D&D, and just that D&D session that we've been talking about. Let us know, because it might be possible for us to set up a stream. Yeah, that's our names now. He's DawnCast.
But yeah, if you want to see that on stream, we can do that on stream. And also, I mean, for those of you that are listening, if there's anything you want to hear us talk about or see, just like...
That's quite impossible.
Let us know in the
Leave a
comments.
comment. We'll talk about anything, man. Not anything.
Not
We'll
anything.
talk
It
about
needs
most
to
things.
We'll talk about anything pop culture related. We're not looking for anything controversial or political or stuff like that. But if you want to see anything
Yeah.
like anime, gaming, superheroes, TV, movie, whatever, let us know. Like down below, we'll be more than happy to, you know. I'm sure you guys know we talk enough about wrestling, so you know, that's on the table. But yeah. Alright, yeah, I think that covers a bit of the wild world of fantasy games and how they can be, how fun they are. We gave you 3 really good recommendations, plus some at the end there. Do you have anything else to say, Simple, or?
Yeah. You know, have fun with fantasy games. Because they're a great way to escape the world.
Yeah, enjoy fantasy games because they let you live the life you might have wanted to live, like you said, in your make-believe life as a kid, so... Yeah. Alright. So, are we calling it there?
I think so.
Alright, everybody. Thanks for joining us. If you're live on Twitch on the stream with us, thank you. Remember to leave a follow. If you're joining us on YouTube, remember to leave a comment. Like it. Like the video. And remember to leave a subscription, please. We're trying to grow in numbers. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back in a couple days with something else. And see you guys later.
Be as brave as you can be, a childlike love, a fantasy, and the world.
You guys got my dog barking.